I'm Pat Mans. I work with WASB. I'm a consultant, a search and governance consultant with WASB for about 2.5 years. Prior to that, I was superintendent of the Crivitz School District for about 12 years, principal there for 1.5 years before that. And before that, I taught in the Marriott School District for 9 years.
I'm Kelly Robinson, and I am the current superintendent for the school district of Crivitz. I just finished my 3rd year in that role. Before that, I was the elementary principal for 4 years. And prior to that, I was a high school special education teacher for 10 years.
What we did was we put together, myself and 2 other search and governance consultants from WSB, a presentation on succession planning as it relates to the superintendent or district administrator within school districts. And we brought Kelly and Rebecca in as examples of how that can work internally within a school district. Obviously, I had worked with Kelly, and she came from Crivitz, or she's in Crivitz, which is where I came from. So we could kind of tell that story and as a success story, if you will. So anything?
Yeah, just I spoke somewhat about the succession plan and how it was executed between the school board with Pat when he was superintendent, and then how it led to me. So our school board and Mr. Mans here worked on what their values were, what they were looking for in the next superintendent. And once they had identified that, they worked through that. I met most of them or all of them, and they decided that that was the direction they wanted to go instead of an open search, was just using that succession plan and offering me the contract. So again, the school board worked with Mr. Mans on really just identifying what they were looking for and then realizing that they had that internally.
The hope is that they come in not necessarily like in the moment having to replace a superintendent. Now we've got to go back and find someone because our soup is leaving, to start the school year. Rather, it's more about being planning and working with purpose through the process of trying to set up a succession plan within your district, identifying future leaders based on characteristics that lend themselves to the role of superintendent. So really the hope is that they're forward thinking and that, change is the one thing we know is change is constant. It's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. So if you have a system in place that's developing and leading toward your next superintendent within the district, that's what we hope they take back from this. Well, from the former superintendent's perspective, trust between a board and superintendent is critical because of the decisions at the level that a superintendent is making them for the district. The board is not in the classroom. It's not in the school every day having to deal with the day-to-day operations of the school district. And so the board has to be able to trust the person that they put in place to handle that and to handle the folks that they have under them and that they're supervising, that they're handling the folks that they're supervising, and et cetera down the line. So that level of trust is really important between the board and the superintendent, just for that.
Yeah, and I think the superintendent understanding the expectations of the board, like that trust also, that the board knows that those decisions that the superintendent's making, that the board's not involved in, that they're making them on behalf of the board and the way that the board really wants them to make. And if there's anything, maybe controversial or something, that the superintendent is very open with those decisions and informing them of some of those decisions. So the trust between board members and the superintendent is key to the functioning of the district.
Certainly, WSB does offer a full external search service for districts, which in the end, our biggest and most important aspect of those searches is getting community involvement, staff involvement in the process of an external search. But in the end, the board is making the decisions. We as consultants, search and governance consultants for WSB, work very closely with the board, planning what that search is going to look like, setting up calendars. There is some flexibility in the search, but we do have certain benchmarks that we expect within a search. But it is a very valuable process, as many school districts throughout the state of Wisconsin have found. And have ended up with superintendents that have been in districts for a long, long time. Well, it's the community that supports the school district, right? Through their property taxes, and in small rurals like the one that Kelly is in and the one that I was in, the school district is the center of the community, right? And so it's critical that that's there.
Yeah, and just like the trust is so important between the school board and the superintendent, the trust between the community and the district in general, the superintendent and the board has to be there. And so that is one way to really just earn that trust, is by involving the community in a lot of different things, like a superintendent search or just the superintendent, kind of a get to know them and things like that, so that the community is comfortable coming into board meetings or approaching the superintendent with questions or concerns or whatever it is. The trust between the community and the district as a whole really, really is important, and it can make or break the success of a superintendent, a board, all of that.
And our superintendent search process does involve a community survey, which involves the community, gives them an opportunity. What do you think your next superintendent should look like? What are the characteristics that they should have? What do you as parents, community members, business members envision as the next superintendent? That's a critical piece.